2024 Trans Balkan Race started in a downpour.
It did.
We knew at least a few days out that it was going to be raining a lot. They were calling for 50 to 75 mils of rain that day. Man, it rained a lot. The first 3 days was kind of downpour. It would clear up. Good sunny and kind of like hot and humid. And then it would just open up again. We got a lot of rain, a lot of mud, and it was not entirely fun, probably, you could say.
I do remember a sense of fear. Just, it was kind of intimidating to begin with, just knowing the distance that was ahead of us, and the terrain, and just the unfamiliar culture and countries and everything like that. But then being soaking wet, you can't even feel your feet 50K into the race. I remember just being like, this is not going to end well.
We eventually made it to checkpoint 1 in the pouring rain. It was wet and miserable.
Couldn't feel my fingers or toes. And it finished with a nice long, 5 or 10K downhill. But I remember the downhill being just a stream because of how much water there was. You didn't get any momentum going. You were just like, we were basically 1 foot unclipped the whole way down.
Yeah, it was like riding down a muddy slip and slide.
Yeah, just to arrive at this tiny little shelter with like 50 sweaty, cold people.
Pretty miserable afternoon of a lot of rain and super muddy and pretty sketchy. And we were pretty much out of water and short on food. So we decided to go to bed early. Went to bed at 6. We got 2 of the 4 bed spots, which is pretty awesome. A lot of people made the call after us. We got up at midnight, hit the road again here.
We left at 2 in the morning, in the dark, cold, drizzle, and just rode through like cow fields.
Yeah, it was literally fields with just mud, like a quarter way up your wheel.
Possibly manure.
Yeah, likely.
We almost literally ran into a few cows just in the middle of the trail, biking with our very minimal headlamps because both of our lights had already run out of batteries. Yeah, so it was just dark and cold, hilly, muddy. Not altogether pleasant.
No.
And eventually made it all the way to Keenan.
Yeah. Keenan was nice. We had a good lunch.
Yeah.
Had a little grocery store resupply.
Waited out the rain for a few hours.
Yeah.
Ran into Friedrich just after Keenan, and we had a good chat with him. He was not feeling great in that rain and seemed to be ready to pull the pin, but yeah, he ended up kind of joining us, and it got sunny, and all of a sudden we were all in good spirits.
Yeah.
And then we ran into the French brother shortly after that.
That's right.
Our nemesis. The other team, who was one place ahead of us, there were still a few teams ahead of us, but they were right there in striking distance, and we rode with them a little bit on it was a long, slow climb through a minefield as the sun set.
It was kind of funny to see how our specialties differed, where we were kind of the more mountain bike trained, so anything downhill we would just go flying past them. But then they were very much like your classic French road cyclists, so they would just stay in their little pace line, crawling up the side of the mountain while we're pushing our bikes. Can't even get our cranks around.
It turned out we had a nice road climb into Bosnia.
Yeah, across the border.
And then it was just a nice smooth descent. It was pavement, which was kind of new for us. And just a smooth, long descent with lots of nice wide corners. We were getting to the point where we knew we needed to cover a lot of ground in order to actually make the checkpoint 2. And up until then, I feel like we were feeling quite optimistic. We were in the top 50 of like 120, 130 riders. So we felt like we were
holding our own.
Yeah, we were in a good place in the race, and yet the further we got into it, the more we were realizing like we were going to be close to not making the cutoff for checkpoint 2, which seemed crazy considering how many people were still behind us.
That's true. There was an interesting turning point in Suica where we ran into Roberto, one of the Italians who was part of a team with Alessandro, and we ran into Roberto. Isn't that where we realized that they had split ways?
Yeah.
So we realized they were no longer going to finish as a team, which means we were one position closer. Yeah, and
by that point, actually, a number of the teams had split up. We saw from the trackers, so we kind of realized we had a chance for like a top 4 finish, maybe even better. The French brothers were not far ahead of us, and we were realizing that a podium finish was possible, which seemed crazy.
We joked about it before starting the race.
Yeah, but we kind of we realized that if we pushed on and finished well, like we actually had a legitimate chance at finishing on the podium for the team category. It's almost sunset, day 5. We gotta chase hard to make the checkpoint. It's gonna be a crazy 3 days, 2 days left after today.
I think at this point, Keenan had no front brake. Both of our suspension forks were like only semi-functional.
Yeah, they didn't really go up and down.
You had one flat tire and a dented rim, I think, at this point.
Oh yeah, very dented rim.
2 flat tires at this point, or just one?
I think just one.
Which seal up okay.
Yeah, overall, things were in rough shape. Bikes were in rough shape. Our bodies were okay, but we were getting tired.
then, yeah, pretty reasonable road climb, and then nice smooth descent right into checkpoint 2.
Yeah, and we felt good. We got to checkpoint 2. It's
6 or 7 hours to spare before cutoff time, I think.
Yeah, which early in the race probably would have seemed tight, but by then as long as we made it, we felt pretty confident we were going to finish the race.
Absolutely.
The timeline is definitely, if you made checkpoint 2, you should be able to finish the race barring any bad things happening.
Yeah, that's right.
And then we crossed into Montenegro.
Yep.
And started a beautiful climb.
Yeah.
Nice single lane paved road.
Yeah, you kind of felt like you were in the mountains once we got up into Montenegro.
Yeah.
It wasn't just mountains in the distance, but you were right nestled into them.
It was like you were in Switzerland.
Yeah.
Like the road was also like perfect condition, thin, narrow, paved road that felt like we just had super confidence at that point.
Yeah.
We were relaxed and laughing and feeling like, okay.
Yeah, we knew we were going to make it. It was easier riding, or at least like more fun riding.
Fourth country of the trip. We are sitting in third place.
Third place, baby.
In the team's category.
Let's go.
Seems insane. But
Victory lap.
everyone else keeps scratching and we keep moving. We got the French Hermite brothers ahead of us by about 20k, sitting in second place in the team's category. They're reachable, but they're super strong. They seem to like road climbs, which is what we're doing. And they probably have more training than we do.
Probably.
However, we got, I don't know what we got.
We got coffee.
We got coffee, yeah. We got a camp stove and coffee. I don't think any other teams have that.
No.
We
got each other.
Yeah, we got a solid team. We haven't split up yet. I think we're doing well.
Well as we can be.
Yeah, we were feeling so good. The riding was just awesome.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
And at that point, we were less than 300 kilometers from the finish, and on so much pavement that we just kind of felt like, oh, we're there. Like this is great. And then after Zabeljak, it got rough.
It wasn't actually raining on us at this point, but we had just been following a storm, so we could see the rain clouds and even the lightning and everything up ahead of us for a couple hours.
Yeah.
So then as we rode, all the road and the terrain in front of us was just mud puddles.
Yeah, and it was slow going. It was just like punchy climbs up and down, and you were just kind of going through like farm fields in the mountains, pasture. And then it got dark and it got late, and we were pushing a lot. It was just, you couldn't find a line to ride because you were just biking in the dark in the mud. So you're constantly just trying to find a place to ride.
So there was this point where I came through yet another puddle. It certainly was not the first, was not going to be the last. And I shifted at the same time with a pretty heavy pedal stroke. And I heard a loud click, and my pedals kind of went out from under me. And I thought, oh no, my chain popped off. But when I looked closer, I actually just tore my derailleur in half, and the jockey wheel was nowhere to be found, probably at the bottom of the mud puddle, and it was completely unusable.
Yeah, it was a bad situation. By this point, it was probably about 10 p.m. It was starting to get cold. We were fairly high elevation. We had about 35 kilometers to the next town. And Joey's bike was unpedalable. So we had a quick chat, and obviously we had to keep going because
we were in the mountains.
We were in the middle of nowhere in Montenegro. So we thought if we can get to the next town, we'll at least get there, sleep, and then tomorrow morning we have a chance maybe of finding a bike shop with an Eagle derailleur.
Slim chance.
We were fairly confident that worst case scenario, my bike had horizontal dropouts, I could ride a single speed, Joey would have gears, and we only had, at that point, it would be 180 kilometers to the finish line.
And then you went single speed.
Yeah.
Successfully.
Yeah, we got some groceries, we hit the road, and once we actually started pedaling and the bikes were both moving, then we were able to relax a bit. I feel like there's a lot of kind of stress being held, and then once we started pedaling and they were both working, it was like, okay, we got 180K. We have 2 days left to finish this race. It was pretty exciting, biking on that old abandoned road, and then suddenly you just came to the point where the view opened up to the bay in front of you, and you knew the finish line was right there, and you knew you made it.
It's awesome.
I mean, it was just beautiful, but also just pretty emotional, just knowing that we were going to finish. You know, we pushed on a lot. It was
overcame a lot of odds right from day one in the rain, honestly.
Yeah, it was not easy at any point. But overall, I would say it was fun.
It was fun.
Especially in hindsight, it's very easy to say. It was a super fun race. It was something where just by finishing, you felt a pretty immense sense of satisfaction. And I feel like anyone who finishes that race, like, there's a pretty amazing sense of camaraderie, where just knowing that you got through that, it's awesome. It's a pretty special thing. Chapeau to the French brothers for finishing ahead of us and taking second place on the podium.
Well deserved.
Yeah, overall,
Thank you.
it was amazing. The feeling at the end when we got our final stamp at that checkpoint was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that covers it.
I think it was great.
Yeah.